Hi, it's Kathy Kelly. I'm back with a few more thoughts and tips about children and their development. I do not have the answer. I don't have the answers, but I do have some perspectives that may be helpful. If not now, then sometime in your future of being with children. I want to assure you, and do believe me, even though it's hard, that you have a lot of power with children. And of course, I don't mean physical power or power to control, but something perhaps more important, the power to define the world for the child. During everyday events, when things are going well, providing words provides understanding and glimpses into the world like this that the child is curious to know but has not learned yet. But during difficult times, your words, your calm presence, can help children to manage both the emotional experience and help her to understand herself and the world. Since the difficult times are always more pressing, let's start with that. Tantrums, difficulties with behavior, or managing emotions. We all struggle with strong emotions, and I can't think of a single adult I know who hasn't witnessed a tantrum or two, or had one for that matter. This is a time that the adult can make a really big difference. First, by just being there, and second, communicating to the child that he or she is acceptable, that we still care about him or her, that just because they're having a difficult time, it's not the end of the world, and that it's not the end of the relationship. Generally, when children are having a tantrum, they are literally out of control of themselves. They really don't know how to stop because the emotions and the experience is so overwhelming. And perhaps you can relate to that as the adult who has walked in on a child who is having a tantrum, or been the adult who perhaps facilitated that tantrum. That happens. It was never going to happen to me, but I would hate to think of how many times it actually did. So, one of the things that is the most helpful is trying to keep your calm, your presence, and just wait. It feels like forever when there's a crying child. You go up to them and you say, "Oh, wow, you're having a really hard time. I can see that you're having a really hard time." From an adult perspective, that seems really stupid. Duh. Of course, I'm having a hard time. Can't you see I'm screaming and crying and in tears? But from the child's perspective, that portion of their brain was literally lost to them in that moment when the emotions took over, when everything seemed hopeless, when everything seemed way too big to manage. So knowing that you, the adult, can manage it is really, really helpful. Also, since the brain processing of children is so much slower than those of adults, having the patience to just sit there and wait and wait and wait and wait some more until the child shows some sign that they are slowing their sobs, that their breathing is more even, that they seem to be aware of their surroundings more than at the beginning. Then there's a time that you can maybe begin to talk about it. But while you're waiting, you can say, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to be here with you. And when you're through crying, we can talk. Because I see that you're having a really hard time now, and it's very difficult to be even, to feel comfortable. So let's just sit together." One of the things that you're doing by introducing that language is reassuring the child about self-esteem, that I'm really an okay person even if I'm not perfect. you're also switching modes. So we have many modalities. We are in a cognitive modality about facts and ideas, and we're in a physical modality when we're exercising. But in a tantrum situation, in an argument situation, we are in the affective or emotional mode. And that's perhaps the hardest one to deal with, because especially for young children, they can't think of more than one thing at a time. They can't keep two things in mind at the same time. And so waiting, allowing the peak of that emotionality to pass and still being there and still being accepting, not demanding that the child stop immediately, not reproving them for their behavior and indicating that you can't handle it. Because you really, as an adult, can handle it. It's not easy, but you can handle it. You're drawing the child back into a world that the cognitive or knowledge-based areas of their brain can begin to function and take over. So what can you talk about? You can say, I see you're feeling a little better now. I bet something really hard happened, and that's why you're having such a hard time. At this point, there's a challenge for you, because if the child does start to talk and say, you're a bad mommy, I don't like you, that might set you off and set you in the same place that you just got the child to remove herself from. And it is really challenging sometimes to take the punishment, and possibly punishment that the child has experienced from you, bad mommy instead of bad child. It doesn't matter who the person is, it's very painful. But it's really important that you can hear that criticism from your child. Take a deep breath yourself and chill, and realize that some of the things you do are not welcome and not manageable for that child, or at least at that time. Then, when the child has some level of control, see if they would welcome some physical contact. Can I give you a hug? You want to come over here and let's have a little hug? Might be an approach. Or, would you like to get your bear? You seem to always feel better when you have your bear. And then whenever some security object or words or behavior has been pulled forth out of that tantrum, then maybe you can begin to have a conversation. And the conversation might begin for the child at this point. What do you think? What happened? Can you tell me about it? Often, if it's a really young child, they will not be able to verbalize it. But you can help to verbalize it, or you can use words yourself that help the child to become cognitively, knowledge-based, develop that awareness, or bring that knowledge-based awareness to the fore in place of the emotionality. Now you can begin to sort things out. If you're able to do this, you are building what has been called a secure base, and is one of the most important things in being a positive caregiver for children. A secure base. You are building a foundation, you are building a history that the two of you share together, and from which you can build. It's never about the little thing that sets us off as adults or that sets the child off. It's usually some stupid little thing that happened to come at the wrong moment, or in the wrong way, or be misunderstood. And that goes both ways. So that's a beginning for a conversation. I invite you to send me questions, to ask for details, and the next time I make a vlog, I'd be so happy if I had questions or ideas to respond to, as well as any ideas I might want to present. See you soon. Thanks for tuning in.